All right. Let's begin as always. Omne Patri et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat regnum tuum. Fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et imite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos imitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Amen. Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. So tonight we're going to kind of briefly, as brief as we can, look over the Easter Vigil Mass and kind of look at the Latin English translations there. And so we'll kind of just step through it, maybe go over some of the parts. I don't want to get too in depth because I want to keep conscious of everyone's time. So we'll try to keep that limited. But of course, the Easter Vigil is one of the more unique liturgies of the entire year in that we start actually outside of the church, right? So we start in the back of the church with a fire that's going to be built by our Boy Scouts this year, and hopefully actually set fire before we get back there this year. Last year we had a little problem with that, but it worked out okay. So we start back there, we bless the fire. So here we see the praise faithful God sign themselves, the priest says, in the name of Father, Son, or in the nomine Patri Filii Spiritus Sancti. And then we have this greeting, Fratres carissimi, hoc sacratissima nocte, in qui Dominus nostro Iesu Christus, de morte transivit ad vitam, ecclesiae in vita filios, dispersos per orbem terrarum, ut ad vigilandum et orandum conveniat, si ita memoriam egremus, pescatis Domini, audientes verbum et celebrantes mysterii eius, spem habebimus participandi triumphum eius de morte, et vivendi cum ipso in Deo. So you can kind of see the translation there to the right in the sacred night, which is Lord Christ passed over from death to life. The church calls upon her sons and daughters scattered throughout the world to come together to watch and pray. If we keep the memorial of the Lord's Paschal solemnity in this way, listening to his word and celebrating his mysteries, then we shall have the sure hope of sharing his triumph over death and living with him in God. So he then blessed the fire. Deus qui per filium tuum, claritatis tua ignem fidelibus contulisti, novum hoc ignem sanctifica and dagger. That's interesting. That must be it. That might be a typo. Novum sanctify this new fire.
It wouldn't be the percent in the middle.
No, and dagger is there. I'm not aware of a Latin word dagger. So
that looks like something.
It's probably scientific.
I think it's in sanctifica, and then it should be oremus, right? Sanctifa novum honc ignem sanctifica oremus, et concede nobis.
It's a dagger there. See, in the English, after
it's
sanctify, there's a dagger. So that's
That's that's the blessing part. All right, I was gonna say, like, why is that? Okay, good. It looks like someone used maybe Google Translate on this one. It could be right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Well, Susan, thanks for figuring that out. That was a good one. I was like, all right, well, great. Okay, et concede nobis ita per hoc festa Pascalia, celestibus desideris inflammari, ut ad perpetua claritatis puris mentibus, valemus fiesta pertingere per iondum Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. So then we actually bless the candle. So that typically is done ahead of time, although we do say the words as we're doing that, just because it's hard to get those little pieces of incense and stuff into the candle at that moment. So also it's nice to kind of burn we actually usually light up the edges of those plugs, so it can actually go in easier. So we do that a little ahead of time. So Christus heri et hodie, principium et finis, alpha et omega, ipsius sunt tempora et secula ipsa gloria et imperium, per universa aeternatis secula. Amen. Then, of course, we put the year and everything on there with the Alpha and Omega with the cross, but although a lot of them are actually already have all that on there typically, so we just kind of use the stylus and point that out. Many have the designs already kind of part of the candle. There's a lot of consternation about that. I've had several conversations with the Office of Worship about that. So is it proper for that to happen? Because technically, according to the missal, we're supposed to actually carve and put that stuff in there by hand. But I've been assured that certain things are okay, although we're trying to get to talk to the candle makers and make it a little more congruent with what the rite and ritual says. Okay, so then we put this incense in the kind of the 5 parts of the cross, and then we put these little kind of plugs in there, little wax plugs. Per sua sancta vulnera gloriosa custodiat et conservet nos Christus Dominus. Amen. We then light the Paschal candle from the fire. We say, Lumen Christi gloriose resurgentis, dissipiat tenebres cordis et mentis. So you can notice that a lot of this is not being said by the faithful. This is all really kind of all just the priests doing all this stuff. And then we start the procession. So, of course, the deacon starts at the door of the church and says, Lumen Christi, Dei gratias. And the priest then lights his candle from the flame of the Paschal candle. Then moving forward in the middle of the church, middle of the nave, Lumen Christi. Then we start lighting everyone else's candles that are there. Then we go into the sanctuary at the altar, and then Lumen Christi. I put the Paschal candle in the candle stand. Usually that's going to be by the ambo, or in the middle of the sanctuary, depending on where that may be. And then we do the exaltet. So the priest goes to chair or gives the candle to a minister, puts incense thurible, blessed, then saying the prayer, saying this prayer to the deacon. If the deacon does this, could be the priest. The deacon usually is the most proper, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a priest or another clergy that is there. So why don't we go ahead and play? Oh, error. That's not good. Oh, really? It's kind of sad. All right, let me go ahead and pull up another. Oh, does it? Okay, let's see if we can click on that, see what pulls up in another. I just love the exaltet. I'm sorry, I really do. I think it's a beautiful hymn, a beautiful chant, and it would be. I don't think it'd be improper, possibly, to do that here. So why not? Okay. Here you go.
Why work for 2 men in a
I
truck?
don't know why.
You're like Rob. You're like getting out there, helping people.
Think about the best night's sleep you.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Tantis irradiata fulgoribus, et eternitas splendore illustrata, quotius orbis essentia, amicis canici, letet et magris populorum vocibus, ecores, propter sanitas nos, fratres carius, aditum miramus sanitium claritas, unam equipasum Dei omnipotentis, misericordia minifocat, ut vehime normes initra levitarum dignatus est agregat, Domini sui caritate minifunetes, Eius laudem in impere benefici. Dominus vobis. Sure sum quarta. Gratias a Deus, Domino Deus. Benedict Dominus est, in invisibile Deum omnipotens, Filium Deus, concordia sanctis affect, et vocis ministerium omnes fundae, et pro nobis et et veteris mia consigio bonne, io cuore eternis, sum te festa Pascali, in quibus vens occidit, cuius aripine, hostis fidei, ore secrare,
Notice how the tone kind of changes in the song, right?
Sic vestigio desire pecis, Elicit curit nos est, vetecatum enectas, quodunque illuminatione puricat, et vox est, quod in Christo avicit peccatoribus peccatus, gratiae sociat sanctitatis, vox est, in equatex tutis viniculis moretis, Christus ab inferis vicolascet, hic ille nimitabis nasci profuit, nisi rediti profuisse, o mira circa tue pietatis dignatio, ad inestimabilis dilectio caritatis, ut servum hediveris filium tragitistri, o certe necessari ad peccatum, od Christi forte O in feliz resurrexit, et nos spiritum est, et nos sicut dies illuminatis, et nos illuminatis.
I think three. I didn't know that.
Oius digitur sanctificationis, Oga cene, Unicas et reditio celestiam lapsis, et vestris letissima, Fuga cadia, concordia amaris, et purifati plena. In huius igitur montis gratia, suscite sancte pater laudis huius sacrificium vesperti. Ora tibi Sacro sancta redite classi, sediam comune, quam in honore signis accet, qui licet signifisus ire partis, mutuati tamen numinis, petri meritator in mortis, aliturum in mortibus celas, quam in substantiam pretiosum iubus lampades, apis mater benedix. Amen. Adonai huius cordis in deficit et in odoribus vomitatis acetus, supernis luminaribus discea. Amasemus, Lucifer matutinos in venitas, ille immortus perquisito Christus Deus, Redemptus Dominus, Humanus Genus,
So I think that's an interesting, different translation, than actually in the new translation. Though, so I think that might be the extraordinary form. I don't know. Yeah, right. Well, but even the Nos Ordo was about that long too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think the Latin's changed.
No. But the funny because the translation here is different what they had there, but that's usually standard anyway, so that's fine.
There's something about like this building shaped with.
Yeah, with joy. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yep. Good. So yeah, the shorter form, which should be done, but we're not gonna do that. No, no. Well, so here's a short version here. But I think what he uses though is the one from the old sacramentary. Right. But I'm not sure, here's the thing, I'm not really sure if that's a valid translation or not. I've actually run that by too, and they said, yeah, well, as long as you sing it, that's really kind of all that matters, like, okay. So,
No.
I'm
It's not a requirement.
my thought is I'm going to just go ahead and do this. And I might do it in Latin. I'm not gonna do that in Latin. I'll probably be crucified if that were to happen. We're actually gonna do all 9 readings this year. So
Aye.
we are. So FYI, just get ready for that. So all that good stuff.
We have the readers set.
We do. So of course, we have liturgy of the word, and
You have 16 people to baptize,
well, now we're down to 14 maybe.
even 14.
We're down, well, we're gonna have 2 baptisms, and then depending on what happens with Kate, we might have 15 total coming to the church. So, yeah. Mhm. Yep, we did, and we got that clarified this time, so we're gonna make sure that's all taken care of this time around. No, they were. We had baptism yesterday, yeah.
And there was no-
It was a miscommunication.
Yeah, we were
I
getting ready
noticed
to,
you Say it's one time, but I thought it was the.
no, no.
Yeah.
Ever since I've been here, we've had at least one person baptized.
Yeah, it was before Father came.
Mhm.
Come on.
So of course, then we have after the last reading, we go into the Gloria. So the Gloria, for some reason that's not working. That's weird. Okay. I don't know why they don't have that here, but okay. Then we have the epistle, followed by the Alleluias and the gospel. So then a 45-minute homily, followed by the baptismal liturgy. So Precibus nostris carissimi fratrum nostrorum beatum spem uninamis aduemus with patrum omnipotens et fontem regenerationis eventes omnium misericordiae su auxilio prosequator. We then bless the font. We have litany. So we'll do that this year, right? Hopefully. I already talked to Mary Beth about that. So basically she knows as soon as we start forming up, that's her cue to start doing the litany. So we're going to do that. We will have 2 candidates baptized. So that's awesome. So we'll say, Ot hos electos per gratiam baptismi regenerari dignaris et te rogamos audinos. Okay. Bless the baptism of water. That's actually a very beautiful prayer too. So we kind of do that. And at one point we then actually lower the paschal candle to the water 3 times and hold it there. And we say, Descendat quosimus Domine in hoc plentitudinem fontis perfilium tuum virtus spiritus sancti, ut omnes cum Christo consepulti per baptismum in mortem ad vitam cum ipso resurgant, qui tecum vivat et regnat in unitatis spiritus sancti, Deus per omnia saecula saeculorum. Then we'll have that chant, and then we'll do the baptisms. And also then we'll bless water, renew baptismal promises. So I don't know if we want to do that right now, but we can, I guess. I don't know. That's interesting. They have different translations. Opera Nuncio and Credo. Huh. Weird. Interesting. Because that word translated would be I believe than I do. Because
No, it is, do you believe in Jesus? That's the later part.
well, yeah, but the translation they have here is I do. So yeah, so basically you say creditus in Deum patrum omnipotentem creatorum caeli et terrae. And instead of I mean, you could say what fuck
Should be, I believe.
right, I believe, yeah.
over there it's-
So credo would be I believe instead of I do. So yeah, and then Creditius in Jesum Christum filum eos unicum dominum nostrum, natum ex Maria Virgine, passum et sepultum, quia mortuis resurrexit, et sedat ad dexteram Patris. Credo.
What is Abrin?
Yeah, I'm not. Abra Nunci would be like towards
Renounce.
the announce, yeah, to the announced.
No, probably renounce. Do you renounce Satan?
Oh, I do renounce. Yeah, okay. I do renounce, yeah. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why. That's a weird translation. Yeah. But that translation is odd. Oh well, whatever. Within the sprinkling rite after the baptism, or no, before the baptisms. Yeah, good. Then Liturgy of the Eucharist, so that's the normal portion. Then Dominus Vobiscum. Habemus ad Dominum. Oh, sorry, Exortum Corda. Sorry, it's been a long day. And Gratias Agimus Domino Deo Nostro. So we got the preface. It's a proper preface. We will use Eucharistic prayer 1. So we'll do the canon. Then the prayer for communion, solemn blessing, and dismissal. Good. So questions, comments, thoughts about Holy Saturday Vigil Mass?
And you adding the from names to the level?
We're planning to. I already gave that to Mary Beth. She has that information, so at least she will. We're still trying to get saint names, but it's not required to have saint name to take a name, and I don't know how many are actually doing it. So we'll find that out probably on Saturday morning.
Well, wouldn't you only do the same names or Catholic names?
What do you mean? I'm talking for the confirmands.
Yeah.
So choosing a name, they have the option to do it if they don't have to.
But if they had Ron, you wouldn't say Ron in a litany.
True. No, unless there is a Saint Ronald, which there may be. Which there may be. Actually, it's funny. What's actually kind of funny is doing baptisms. We have some very interesting names sometimes that come up.
Yeah.
And so what I try to do is I find the etymology, and then I try to find if there's a correlative saint name to it. And it's kind of a fun exercise. And usually if that's the case, I'll add the saint name into the litany at the baptism. And I don't think they even realize usually. It's like, you know, whatever. But like there's some that's like kind of like a lot of people I've noticed this recently, a lot of people are naming their child Jack. Not John or Jonathan, but Jack. And it's like, okay. And so St. John, fine, whatever, you know, same thing. There's people like more proper names, and that's a little bit tougher. So yeah, you kind of have to be somewhat creative, I think. But as long as one of the names is a saint name, I usually add it in there. That's kind of how we kind of do it.
Well, I think for years, Susan was torturing herself. When we would be looking at the bulletin.
I haven't seen the baptism names lately.
There's all this,
That was pretty good. They're getting better.
Yeah.
There are, yeah, no, I mean, nothing really like kind of completely out of left field. It's like, oh wow, you know, it's like a, you know, 2 letters.
Wow, but mostly
Yeah.
they're, you know.
Yeah, like a hyphen with an A, like dash R. I mean, nothing like that. I mean, it hasn't been anything like that kind of in you know craziness. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot. Like, there's been more, I think, secularization. So like you have like maybe more standard, you know, kind of more secular names that are going on right now. Like, you know,
probably influence of movies.
yeah, I mean, more pop culture-ish, I think. But yeah, it's sometimes a challenge, but that's kind of the fun, I think, and sometimes to try and figure that out. But I think, let's see,
I can tell you, I used to teach the pre-meds for I don't know many years, which I would have enrolled over 100. And a name like Mary, I haven't seen for well over a decade. I think.
Yeah,
Lots of Jennifers. And
yeah, I mean, even our candidates. I mean, there's not really too many.
not even hardly some Elizabeths.
Yeah.
But Mary was just revolted. It seemed as if there was legislation against it.
Yeah. I think
like Maria or anything.
This year our 2 catechumens are Regina and Ashley. So I mean, those are not too out of left field. For the catechumens, like, well, there's probably a Saint Ashley somewhere. That's the thing about it. If you look back, I mean, look, I just reached. No, it's actually amazing me. Like I have so many times like there's no way they're saying that name, and then all of a sudden like you go to Catholic.com, it's like, oh, I mean, it's kind of amazing. Like there are some, yeah, right. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
Usually you find them though in someplace like Butler's Lives.
I have there's a good resource on, I think it's Catholic.org, and they have like a list of saints, and they have it alphabetical. So you just like, go to the A or whatever, and then yeah, it's really easy. And actually, that's what's so amazing to me though, is that like, I would think there's no way there's a saint like, whatever. And it's like, oh, there is. Okay, well, or like there's very similar wording. Yeah, it's
The Catholics, the Protestant churches, there's a lot of churches names that are there. But
Yeah.
did we ever use the term Saint Mary really?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
for the Blessed Virgin, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we still do.
It's not-
Sure.
It's not as.
No,
Usually use one of the other Bibles.
right.
Mary's High School.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as common. I mean, yeah, usually you use like, Queen of
If
Peace
you
or
see
Queen
a
of All
Saint Mary's
Saints.
church, it's
Right.
usually not Catholic.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know. I mean, I mean, if you think about it, there's not too many denominations have a devotion to Mary.
There are two, the Protestants, the same grain feeling of the Protestants that we're deifying Mary is so deep that they stay away from referring
Yeah,
to Mary.
that's very true.
Officially or quasi-officially, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, even there's a Saint Mary out in Moselle. It's like, okay, that's, yeah. I don't know if
Some attractions.
it's not, yeah, so I mean, I think you're right that it's not as common. You wouldn't necessarily see a Saint Mary's Catholic Church often. But
They would, just like you said, Lord.
yeah, title, right.
Or the Church of the Annunciation, or
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
yeah, but so I would imagine if it's Saint Mary's, that's probably a good indication that it's Catholic. Yeah, just because of that, but yeah, names are, I don't think there's really too many in our program. I'm trying to just go through the names real quickly, and I don't think there's anything that wouldn't be saint. Yeah, I think we have a pretty good crew as far as that's concerned. So yeah, one maybe not Keegan, but actually I had a Keegan before, and actually there was like a saint associated Keegan. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, okay, yeah. So I don't know. Well, I think we'll make it work. Yeah, we'll make it work either way. Very good. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. Unless there are any questions, we'll go ahead and
But you're joking about the 45-minute homily. Let me tell you, I've sat through homilies that were longer than an hour.
yeah.
At St. Rock's in the 60s, there was a pastor, east of, south of Delaware. It's east of Skinker. We had a really good pastor, good man, Father Monsignor Pete for many years, from 62 homilies. And as he got up in age, he would lose track of time, and he would start really just, he was always ad-libbing it, and so he covered all the topics you couldn't possibly imagine. And so I remember I went one Saturday evening, and he spoke for over an hour. And Sunday morning I went back, and it turned out I got him again at 8 o'clock, and he looked around and he said, "Now, I noticed there's some people here who were present yesterday at my 5 o'clock mass, and I apologize to you. This will not happen again." And he promptly repeated the performance. The saint is mine was in this track or set of tracks that he proceeded to follow. I don't mean he did the line what he said the day before.
Did he use a script or he used? Okay, yeah.
But there's my last remark on this. After I left there, once I came to school, I didn't have a car, I didn't go back there. But one of the other parishioners I ran into, and he said, "Well, we tried to cure him of this problem. So some people got together and bought a subscription to a homily service for him.
Oh wow!
So he got this homily thing, and he actually used the homily.
Yeah.
Right? But wait a minute, he took the homily, and while he was reading it, commentary would occur to him, so then he would proceed to comment on the homily it just read, and the whole thing went on for the better part of an hour.
Well, some of the families have said pretty weird stuff.
But see, he would really get into all kinds of things like that long hour plus homily. He got into the importance of eating well and anything you could imagine. He just really.
Well, so was it like an Easter Vigil Mass too? Oh no, it was regular Sunday.
But I
It was
remember-
weekday mass?
It was a Sunday mass.
Oh, Sunday, I was gonna say, I was like, wow.
Oh, a graduation, I once wondered, they had us an afternoon or evening mass, 5:15, 5:30. And it turned out this one day I went, it was a graduation mass for the eighth graders. It happened to be my birthday and a friend was picking me up after mass at my apartment, so I was kind of last clock conscious. The moment I walked in and realized there was a ceremony, I said, oh my gosh, I hope it's not gonna be Monsignor. And sure enough, it wasn't. Somebody else came to the homily. The priest said, oh, now for a few words for our pastor. Well, he had to, he spoke to the graduates. And he wanted them to thank the parents, their grandparents, their aunts and uncles.
The pastor has to say some of those
cousins and
circumstances,
everything
yeah,
else.
I mean,
After
you know.
about 20 minutes of this, he forgot that he covered everything and said, and you cannot forget, thank you, the whole line again. I wound up, I